All right, so what we're going to do is take the time to go over what probably no other healthcare provider has ever taken the time to go over with you. And it's probably the one thing that everybody is most interested in. Does anybody care about their health? Well, of course, right? What would people say is their most important thing? Right, health, right? Is health your most important thing? Does it always get prioritized as their most important thing?
No.
Right, so we talk about it being the most important thing, but we don't always give it the attention. So even if we wanted to give it the attention, we'd have to know what it is, right? So how do you achieve health? Simple question, right? Everybody wants it. Everybody talks about it. So how do you achieve it? Is there an easy thing?
To achieve good health?
Yeah. What would you need to achieve good health?
I don't know,
Does everybody know their phone number?
just doing your business.
Everybody know the PIN number to their bank card. Everybody know their address. You should have health and how to get it as easily as you have anything else if it's that important to you, right? So I'm not saying that you have to know everything, but I'm saying what do we know so far? Just let's start the conversation. What do we know about health? Does anybody know how to do anything for health?
As far as that,
You name anything you know, I'll take it.
I don't know, go for yearly checkups or whatever. Is that what you mean?
Yeah,
Yeah.
anything. Name anything.
Go for your yearly checkup.
Go for your yearly checkups.
Yeah, so for me, we have to eat healthy and move.
Nutrition, okay, right? That's it. That hundreds of years, no problem.
Yeah.
Hundreds of years nutrition, right?
Yeah.
100 years, easy one, right? In the bank as a lock.
Thank you.
In the top 5 or top 6. Anything else?
Exercise.
Exercise, top 5, right? What else?
Try to get good rest, sleep.
Sleep, huge. The more studies that come out, the more benefits it shows all the way up and down the line, from heart disease or anything. I just saw a neat thing on how daylight savings time has messed with rest and actually heart problems and change or something. It was a weird article, so, but just the power of rest and the power of sleep. Anything else? So we got rest, exercise, nutrition.
No stress.
Diet.
Yeah, all diet, nutrition. Which one you got?
No stress.
Right, stress, how you handle stress, right?
Yeah.
So you guys, we just need to get the conversation started. Anything else? How about your response to things, which goes along with stress? Positive or negative mental attitude. Do you think that affects your health at all?
Yeah.
Huge, right? So you create a filter in your brain, and your brain sees the world as you create your filter. And that's what you'll see in the world, and that's how you'll respond to things that happen. Some people respond to the positive, some to the negative. Which one do you think is better for health? Positive, right? That hundreds and thousands of years, right? These are rock solid foundational things that if anybody did them, no matter how poor their health is, or no matter how great their health is, if they did these things, they become healthier. If a healthy person did these things, they become healthier. If a person whose health is struggling did these things, they become healthier. Every single time, every single person. Can you say that about other things? What would happen if you gave a healthy person surgery? Would they be healthier?
No.
No, right? What would happen if you gave a healthy person drugs? Would they be healthier?
No.
Right. So those things we have are emergency care. So there's emergency care for emergency situations, and then there's the foundations of health that you have to use to be healthy. Sometimes they work together. However, emergency care will never achieve health. Emergency care will only treat emergency situations. Healthcare is the only thing that'll ever, not healthcare, taking care of your health is the only thing that'll ever create health, because they're the foundational principles that our bodies work with and work on. Okay? So we know about all the majority of them. So we use emergency care to get out of emergency situations. Emergency care is do whatever is necessary because what we're dealing with is worse than what we're taking to deal with it. Once you get stable and your body's out of an emergency situation, it is our responsibility to take the 5 pillars of health, I'll go over all 5, and use them to the highest level, and that will help our body meet the needs that it has to achieve better health each and every day. All right? So the health equation is, how do you keep mental, physical, and chemical stresses low, or even use them in a way that promote health, right? Because stress can be good, right? Exercise is stress, different kinds of stress. So how can we use our stresses to keep them as low as possible or use them to our benefit, which is how we win moments in the stresses in our life? How do we maximize the 5 foundational principles of health up here? And the bigger gap we make, the faster, stronger, and healthier you will be. Every single time, no questions, no thoughts, nothing that could ever refute that. If you lose out some of your health habits, like you miss out on sleep or you're missing out on nutrition, that may bring this bar down a little bit. If you're not handling stress well, that may bring this bar up a little bit. The lower this gap gets, the less your health improves. It may still improve a little bit, but you're not at your best. If it gets to this point, you're about breaking even or going either direction. Once it gets in this point, that's what ends up causing people to get into a health crisis and have health problems. It's this, the stress being high, and the positive aspects of your health being low. One of these 5 aspects not being met. You add this gap in the negative direction over time, and what happens is a symptom. Now there's 2 ways to treat a symptom. A symptom can either be treated by treating the pain or the upset stomach or the body part that's not working right, or addressing why it's not working right and restoring health to it. If you only ever treat the symptom, you can feel better. You can get that body part to not give you that sensation anymore. But the only way to restore health and stop the damage is to get the equation back in the right direction. Because there's no pill that's ever going to make somebody healthier. All right? It only is going to fill a gap if our body fails in a certain area or it needs a little help because something has gone so far that it just is going to need too much time to repair itself, and it may just need a little bit of help just to balance that equation out enough that those things can start working in your benefit again. All right, so I'm going to talk about the one thing that nobody mentioned. The one thing that nobody mentioned is your brain and your nervous system are actually the system that created your body. It made every cell in your body. It made your heart. It made your lungs. It made your hands. It made your feet. It makes your stomach. It tells you what kind of food you want to eat because it knows what kind of vitamin's in it. It pulls that vitamin out and gets it to the trillions of cells. This is your nervous system all the time. Trillions and trillions of things for your body it's doing that you don't even have to think about. That is the most important system in your body, and probably the most foundational principle of health is the life force. The only thing different, I could give nutrition, I could do whatever we want to somebody that has no life in them, and it will do nothing for them because they don't have an impulse over their nerve system. That impulse over our nerve system is what keeps us alive and keeps our body doing everything it does. The quality of that impulse is based on the quality of the path that it travels, the quality of our spine. If that spine is as healthy as possible, that impulse will be as healthy as possible, making as much life to our body as possible, and also our body's ability and our mind's ability to understand the needs of our body. It's a two-way communication system. The faster these two are talking, the better our needs are being met. So lifeline is number 1. 2 is intake, the air we breathe, the water we drink, and the food we do or do not eat. Even, it used to be enough to say if we had healthy foods or that would be enough. But now, by the way things are done, some of our healthy foods aren't even as healthy as they used to be, whether it be the ground or the way they're taken from the farm to the table, whatever the case may be. Our foods are very important, but we have to be aware of not only are they healthy, but where they come, how were they done, and all those different things. So there's the food, the water. Now water, a lot of our infrastructure in our water has started to break down. A lot of the chemicals that are in our waters, so even the water just out of our tap isn't usually that healthy anymore. It's good to have a filter on some kind of water system because water is our biggest detoxifier, and our body can't keep up with getting out all the stuff that's in the water. So to get it out before we even put it in our body, the better. So I'm just going to go over these briefly so we can get to joint health because that's our specialty, but it'll be important that you guys know all this stuff. So after that would be rest. The benefits on rest are out the roof. You can pick any health topic you want to. Rest has an impact on it. Positive mental attitude is obviously clear. We talked about that. However you train your mind to think, it's going to think. I just saw a cool title of a book the other day. It was your brain is a supercomputer. Whatever you think is the program it's going to run. So it's just an amazing system. Your brain is going to achieve whatever you tell it to, and it's going to look for whatever you tell it to. So make sure you're feeding and training it in the direction you want it to go. And then movement is obviously the other one. Movement is anything from flexibility, strength, endurance, balance. That could be anything from scar tissue that people have, or fascia that gets tight in their body, or, or muscle imbalances. All those different things help with the movement aspect. Movement is equally important because is the #1 fuel source for the brain. So when my eyes are closed, I know what every joint is doing because there's receptors around every joint. That stimulation of moving feeds your brain, and whatever else that part of your brain does, it's going to become stronger too because it's getting fed. That's why that's why people now are having kids, sit on bouncy balls when they learn or do different things. It's that activity supercharges your brain. It's like, your brain on exercise, so to speak. So you have life, intake of life through the brain nervous system, intake, air, water, food, movement, rest, positive mental attitude. These 5, centuries old, can never go wrong with them. With this philosophy, what I've learned in chiropractic care, I've been able to avoid things that I've been told I should be doing, like opioids or other things. With these 5 things, I've been able to read articles from Harvard or Yale and determine if they make sense or not, whether they match up with these 5 principles or not, because no matter what they do to bend the science to make it look like something is going to be the next best thing, if it doesn't match up with these 5, it doesn't have a shot. Eventually it's going to lose out. So this 5 is just something that you can hold on to, and you can just filter your things through. And remember, when we're getting told about all sorts of nutrients and different things that are good for us, it's important to know that we're all going to be different in what our needs are. We're all going to be different through our lives and the different things we go through. And if you really want to go to that level with things, it's very important to be specific, or else you'll have a nutrition cabinet that is a whole wall of all the different benefits from all the different great things that are out there. So just make sure that you need your basics. But if you're going to specialize in nutrition and different things, realize that that is a very delicate art, just like anything else. My basics are multivitamin, omega, probiotic, and enzyme, because that just works my whole digestive system. Fat is important for your brain and the cells of your body, healthy fat. And I just want to make sure that I have as many vitamins and minerals available, because they're the lock and key that makes all our cells work, all the reactions go and not go. So, but I can refer you to some sources that I read that are much more in-depth about nutrition if that's the avenue you want to go. But I want to bring you to the one thing that nobody really addresses, but it ends up being the one thing that puts everybody down in the end. What do you think when you see people in nursing homes? Are they very mobile or immobile? Immobile, right? We got ankles, knees, hips, backs, necks, pain, right? So, and we already know from 10-year-olders that there's already signs of degeneration in their spine at 10 years old. So the spine is one of the things that's not taken care of through lifetime that ends up getting worse through every stage of life, because nobody's out there telling people to go to the spine gym or to make sure you exercise, or like they do for the other parts of your body. So the spine goes undiagnosed for years after years after year after year. And in the end, we end up seeing people getting 600,000 knee replacements a year, 300,000 hips, 700,000 spine surgeries, and that's not all. The missed work, low back's top of the list for 90% of the people in their lifetime, 50% of the population at any one time with low back pain, headaches being a part of missed work, which are neck problems. So these joint problems, they go undiagnosed and untreated, and people just do enough to treat the symptoms part, but they never get the spinal aspect taken care of. And in the end, people aren't in nursing homes because they don't have muscles. They're in nursing homes because they don't have joints. So as you start to put your 5 together, or whatever your 5 are, you may take one of the ones I had out and you may have something different you want to put in there. But as you have your health plan together, just like you have down anything else you want to own and master in your life, and also teach to the next generation, because if you don't teach them, TV is going to teach them. And if TV teaches them, they're not going to teach them about how to be healthy. They're going to teach them how to treat symptoms, right? So that's something that you do for your family as a health legacy. So when it comes to those 5 and when it comes to the spine, if you learn how to get alignment in the spine and motion in the spine and have exercises that have a spinal focus and then have muscles that support that spinal focus, you'll go a lot longer and stronger and be a lot more active. What most people do is they have the exercise part, they have the active part, and their joints are suffering as a consequence because they don't have the spinal focus when they do things. And as time goes on and those joints get injured, they wind up here or they wind up other places, and the person puts the x-rays up and they says there's already 20 or 30 years of arthritis in the spine. And by the time they see that, that's your new starting point. You can't go back to before. So the earlier you teach your kids and the earlier you teach the kids that are growing up now, the more problems that they'll avoid. For us, we got to start where we're at and get the best version of that spine possible. And without getting that spine right, if those nerves are interfered with to do the different body parts, you could do anything you want not to feel pain or not to feel your problem. But if you've lost that lifeline communication, you lost your body and cell's ability to become stronger and healthier. Because I'll tell you how these principles work right now. So here's how it works. You have the cells that you have. These 5 things that you do for them, the nerve flow, the nutrition, the sleep, the rest. When that cell dies off, it determines if that next cell that comes is a little bit healthier because it has good nerve flow, good nutrition, good rest, good exercise, good positive mental attitude, or if that next version of that cell is a little weaker. Less nerve flow, less nutrition, less rest, less movement, less positive, right? All these little cells, as they're moving in this direction, every day, that's why nothing is sudden. Every day these cells move in one direction. If they move in a certain direction, down, they become susceptible to disease. If they move in another direction, they become stronger and healthier, more resistant to disease, and more capable of being stronger and healthier. So that is basically how health works at its most basic foundational level. If you stick to those 5 things or just add one of these things, I know New Year's resolution's coming up. If you want to look into one of these things, if you add any of them, I can practically guarantee a better, more healthier, active life. That doesn't mean a perfect life, but it means whatever you go through in life, you're going to be healthier as you do it and a better version of yourself. Because we can't compare ourselves necessarily to someone else, but we will be a better version of ourselves anytime we do or add any one of these to our health. Now here's the last thing. With these 5 things, even though life intake, rest, movement, positive mental attitude is great, when you add consistency, it's a multiplier. So 1 day of push-ups is different than a week or a month of push-ups. That same push-up that I did on that one day, a month later with 20 other push-ups on top of it, makes that push-up, that one push-up I did in the beginning, better because it got added to it. It got multiplied. Not only does it get multiplied with consistency and time, but when you add these together, they start to multiply. So many people, when they start to get their spine healthy and feel better, they tell me they're back at the gym, they're losing weight, they feel like eating better because now they're exercising, they're losing weight. Now they're resting better. All 5 start to feed each other, and that's when things really start to hum. Then you add time, where new cells have time to develop into a stronger, healthier version, which creates a stronger, healthier tissue, stronger, healthier organ, stronger, healthier person. Works every single time, and this is the truth about health. Sounds good? All right, you guys are all ready. So we'll get you your therapies, we'll get you adjustments, and you guys are on your way. So I'll just ask you guys, anybody have any questions?